is not like the female and the female is not like the male. And therefore, in order for us to have balanced children, you know, there has to be a balance of each of the qualities and the characteristics of God. For example, the warrior side, and a feminine, gentle side, or mercy, you know, which is a very feminine characteristic and quality. If we don't have both aspects of the male and the female within the home, or within the community, within the society, then we're left unbalanced. And we can see that imbalance at the moment. And I watch it in our children. I watch it, Daniel's 17, and I watch how he's a young man. He's taller than me.
That's our son, by the way.
Yeah. Everyone knows that. But we shouldn't take it for granted. Daniel's our eldest son, and he's 17 now, brothers and sisters. And he's, some of the time, he's a lovely young brother. And what I watch him as he's growing, maturing, you know, his chest expanding, and I watch how he deals with me as a female. And so I may say something to him, and he may respond in one way, but when you say something to him, he's like, you know, he goes right down. And then I thought about it, and I thought about a long time ago when we saw Roots, and what happened was the males within the village, within the family, what happened was they had like a manhood training, whereby they left the home, they left their mother's house, and then they went on their initiation, their manhood training. Then they came back into, so they separated themselves. They were separated from everyone, where they went and learnt specific qualities and characteristics on how to be a man, how to be a builder, how to be a provider. And then what they did is that they came back. And when he came back, he moved into his own tent, into his own hut. He wasn't in his mother's hut anymore. Do you understand what I'm saying, brothers and sisters? Now, because we've moved away from a natural way of life, we find our homes in chaos, because we're still spending a lot of time talking with our boys, because their fathers and our husbands aren't always there, or we don't get the support that we need. And so the boys, in particular, are quite wayward, because they don't have the structure and discipline that they need.
Okay, a lot of things that you've said so far, I'm linking them up in my mind. You know, you're talking about shifting mind and attitude, and you're talking about the children, the young boys' mind being shifted from adolescence and childhood into maturity, and also the female as well. And in order to shift their mind into that growth and development, we have to move them into a new area to do that, into a different environment to do that. And you know, I was thinking about family reunion. Family reunion means balance.
That's
balance
right.
in the family, and to balance immediate family, it's necessary for each member of the family to know their role. So they have to be shifted, you know. Also, in the shifting process, came into my mind the rocket ship scenario. You know, because he was talking about separating. A man has to separate from his family, and you know, and cleave to his wife and cleave to his own. And in order to do that, you leave your home. And you know, I was grimacing as the brothers leave their home, and I was like shaking my head. And that's part of the problem, because the brothers don't want to leave the mother's home sometimes. And you know, we have some males who are really like in their 30s and 40s, and they're still living with mummy, You understand?
Mummy.
So I was looking at the rocket ship. You know, the rocket ship. You know, it's got that big tank, and to get up to the first, you know, stratosphere, it uses the big tank, and then when it's used up that energy, it shifts. You know, it gets rid of that. It separates from the rocket ship, from the big tank, in order to get to the next stage. So you have stages of development and stages being discarded. When it gets up into the outer atmosphere, it discards the next stage and moves on to the next stage. And if it doesn't discard these big tanks, these extra bits of weight, if it doesn't get rid of those, then it can't go on to the next stage. And this is like us as a family. So this is shifting again, the process of shifting, the sequence of events that you was talking about from one stage to another. And also what came to mind, sister, in shifting, you know, in cars you have gears, and the gears are known as stick shift. You know, in the States they call it stick shift. So you can shift between one gear and the other. You have automatic gears, and you have manual gears. You know, you was talking about us being a slave to the society, or us, you know, being the masters. You know, when you have a car which is automatic, it's like you're a slave to that shift system, because if it decides to shift, you have no control over it. You know, but when you're put in the role of a master, you decide when to shift that gear and when to take on that extra power. You decide when it is going to be used. So I'm seeing all these, you know, parallels with what you're saying. So, you know, the manhood and the sisterhood training, the family reunion, the process, the sequence of events, it's all, you know, we can find all these analogies that we can use to understand this and move it in the way it needs to be moved.
Yeah, those are some really practical examples as well, you know, particularly in terms of the driving in the car, because sometimes we learn to drive an automatic car because we find it too difficult driving manual.
Or we're lazy.
Or we're lazy, but in my case...
And the license is easier to pass.
In my case, I would find it too
And you know, we don't like to work sometimes, you know. Sometimes we want things easy. We don't want to do the work that's necessary to bring about the benefit that we're actually after.
Yeah, but that's a slave mentality.
Yes.
And that's a people who mathematics have been eradicated and moved away from their foundation, because
well, that's the Satan. That's the
exactly.
Satan who shifted our work.
Exactly.
And told us, well, see, you don't really need to do that hard work. But continue.
Exactly, thank you. But it's very important, brothers and sisters, because in looking at it from both perspectives, it's about us having a clear understanding of what's required and what's expected of us, because we've never been taught how to be parents. We've never been taught how to be a family. We've never been taught how to be a family unit, because being a family is one thing. Being a family unit where all of us are working in harmony and everyone takes their roles and position is a different matter. And I was looking at the plants.
But is that true though, if I just stop you? Is that true that we've never been taught?
Well, we haven't, because where's our examples come from? And that's another thing that I wanted to talk about. You know, what a family is.
Okay.
You know, where do our ideas, you know, it would be really helpful for us to just stop and think about a family. And that's what I did during the week, and I'm frowning and thinking.
Yeah, but weren't Adam and Eve the first family?
Hold on.
According to the scripture.
Wait. Wait. Look, we're coming to that. We're coming to that.